The last time this body got sick, oh, it was a doozy. I cleared out a waiting room of Wood Creek Clinic in Puyallup, Meridian. Oh my God, this was before the pandemic. Could you imagine if it was? I'd be dead. They would have killed me. They would have put me to sleep. So I went in with a high fever, not well, drove my little ass there. John was watching football usually. And when I got there, they saw I was sick. They handed me a mask, said, put this on. And I was sick. Um, I was sick. So anyway, they just said, go sit and wait. There was quite a few people there. You should always say it's your heart, man. But so I went and sat on this corner. There was one person next to me. The place was full families with kids because this Wood Creek is also a pediatric place and a walk-in clinic. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking outside and it's raining and it's wet and I'm thinking, oh my God, I need to go lay on the sidewalk. I was so hot. It was just, I was a mess and having to wear the mask. I was like, "Ugh." We all know what that feels like. So I got up thinking I was going to go lay on the ground when I saw the bathroom door and I'm like, oh my God, I'm just going to go in the bathroom. I just needed to be away from people. I went to turn the handle and it was locked. And that was the last thing I remember. So the next thing I remember, it was paramedics. I'm not even a mile from the hospital saying, asking me what my name is, asking me who the president is. I don't even remember who it was at the time. And they had taken everyone into this emergency room in the back because this lady collapsed right there in front of everybody. So anyway, they put me in an ambulance and they took me to the hospital. Turned out I had like a lung infection or something crazy, and I was done in a few days. A traveling nurse was the best doctor I ever had. So you guys, when you realize and you admit that you're not fulfilled in here, you get sick. You have cars that crash into you or you crash into things. It's like, hello, hello, you're not doing you, you're not on your path. So this was my last illness. That was it. It was like I had driven myself to the emergency room many times before with a tailbone infection. John needed his beauty sleep, and I told him that. So he did go back to bed in the middle of the night and let me crawl down to my car. He just didn't cross his brain. His dad wouldn't have done it either. Like, well, you're worthless to me right now. Oh, so I was sick and I brought on the tailbone infection myself. It was a test of the law of attraction, and boy, did it work. You don't need to do what I did. I've written in my books, you don't have to. Trust that it works. So I was done getting sick. I was walking through Puyallup as I always did. I was a very big walker, moved a lot because I walked away from all of my friends. Every connection that I had, I walked away from. But I surrendered after that. After that illness, I was walking down the street and I looked up and I said, I don't know who you are, but as of this moment, I surrender. I give you me, my life, handing it over. You take it over. Jesus, take the wheel. Guys, this is the God's honest truth. We try after being sick so long, so many times, having polycystic kidney disease. So I was on high blood pressure medication, high cholesterol medication. I was just medicated up the bazooey because I believed it. I've bought into all of it. But here's the deal. I was never going to have a child. I knew what my childhood was like. It was hell. And I knew if I brought one into my life, I was broken. What good am I doing for anyone? And my sister said, oh, you should have kids. It's so much fun. I'm like, yeah, you're filling a void. So at 39, I popped out a kid because I was ready. Met the person, the timing, everything, boom, magical, popped out a kid. I had to have that experience because I was a mom that had this child that I was responsible for, and I did a damn good job. I made this kid stronger than dirt, man, I tell you, until I handed her over for college. And she had a girlfriend her junior year in college, in high school, when I was disabled with a tailbone infection. So that was kind of when the transition went to daddy taking over the money. And so as a mom, I did stuff no other mom could do. I set my kid up on all these trips around the world. First of all, because we could afford it, and why not? And it's good to push them out of their comfort zone. But like when she graduated high school, it's like, all right, there's the taco bar. Everybody have fun. Here's your graduation money. Off you go to college. Drove her to college. And then like, bye-bye, dorm set up. It's like all these other moms and my husband. It's like they're fine. They're ready to do this. But here's the deal, guys. You're not ready for them to do this. Here's what's going on in the world I lived in. I had to be in this town where it's kind of upper crust. Low, free and reduced lunch is what they base this on, I guess. So we had a very affluent elementary school, whatever. Um, and it was a social game, PTA, all that fun stuff. I was there. It was kind of fun for me socially a little bit, but I wasn't. I was very disconnected. Um, but my kid started with troubles. She had heart issues. She had open heart surgery. She had two surgeries. Um, but she just was a Klingon. And she was preemie. There was all these reasons for me to be a freak for a while until her heart issues were done. But this Klingon was such a Klingon that I put her in like preschool at 2, parent toddler thing, because she needed to let me go. She needed to branch out and see other mommies and other kids. It was hell. It was hell. This kid was the one who was relentlessly, what? But I would work in the classrooms at times. So, and then she had a best friend that she did all these things with when she was young, very young, toddler. And we were at this preschool at 5:30 in the morning with coffee and donuts because we were going to get our kids on the waiting list to be in this school. Oh my God, the things moms do in this town. So anyway, at 5:30, of course, we were the first ones and we got our kids on the list. But then I realized my kid was just going to cling to her kid. And I know how unhealthy that is. So I pulled her and I put her in another program elsewhere. And it was hard, but she had to learn how to let go of me because why would I want her to cling to me and need me? Because aren't I a human too? Aren't I somebody? It was a lot of just allowing her to be strong and encouraging her to be strong and letting her be. I did that. So, for those of us who were raised with moms who sucked, we are the ones who made it. We were never told to go to college or we were never given options like that. Just those of us who were not given options, we had to scrape. We had to work the bottom rung jobs. Guess who's got the character? Guess who's got the wherewithal to keep this world strong? Not someone's money. Someone's money doesn't help your kids be strong. Ugh, if they don't do the work, they don't know how to work. But we have created this generation of kids who don't know how to do anything and they've been allowed to be princess and princesses and then they get other women pregnant. It's like, but then the wife of that person would rather be with the cheating husband because her family doesn't want her now because she's broken. She doesn't know how to do anything because they taught her nothing growing up. Oh my God, the stories you hear, but I witnessed it firsthand. I made my kid be strong. I did that. What happened next is not on me. I will say these words. This child said to me 3.5 years into college, no, before I found out that she was receiving inheritance 3.5 years, this thing that came out of me said, Mom, I know you're going to watch all of my movies, but I'm never going to read any of your books. I raised that. I did that. That's on me. During my time in this town, I met some super moms. They have college degrees for major things, but they chose to be stay-at-home moms. And in doing so, their kids had the best of everything. They were every opportunity. And the mom built their world around these kids. Like they're going to run them here, they're going to work in the classroom, they're going to run the PTA, whatever. These moms are so involved and they think they're doing everybody a service. You're not. First of all, yeah, you had it rough and you want to give your kids what you didn't have and you want to give them the mom you didn't have. Your mom didn't do things for you, which made you strong. You doing everything for them makes them broken. They don't know how to do. And then they depend on you, and you believe they depend on you. You believe they need you for the rest of their lives. And so when they go off to college and do what you told them to. Even though they didn't want to, they're going to rebel and they're going to do nasty things to make you just irritated because you said, here's what you're going to do. And they're like, I don't want to do that. But you tell them what they have to do and they believe you they have to because they owe you. You're paying their way. I didn't have that. Hey guys, I'm pretty fucking strong, okay? I didn't have any of that. I had to pull myself all the way through. So I know a woman who, before Christmas, escaped. She died. I don't know how. She died, but I know she did all she could. She did all she thought she could. But never in this process did she ever put herself first. She never for a moment thought, who am I without them? What am I going to do when they're off and gone? You don't think of that. You have these expectations of families, what they're supposed to do. You're going to need to be there for me. I know better. Trust me. Trust me. This path is going to save you. You don't know better because each one of us comes with an instruction manual. And the more you're involved in the life of your children, the more you tell them what is, the more you ruin them. You disable them. If they have to figure it out on their own, they're badass. They get badass, man, because they feel what doesn't work. They're not told what works. They feel what doesn't, so they lean to what does. But we are so screwed up because these moms and these parents have this, okay, give me grandbabies. And it's like, what is next for me? Why do we never ever think, what am I without them? Because you are that first. What are you without them? Is that thing you were as a kid, that thing that made you tick. The reason you were born is that thing. But when you played house because you saw mommy being a mommy and then you thought, I want to be a mommy. No, you may have wanted to pop kids out. You needed to throw them out to figure it out. But it's the first day of 2026 and I sold my house in a week. I don't know where I'm moving. I honestly don't know. I can't pack my house or book a truck because I don't know if I'm bringing my furniture or if I'm selling everything. And I know I'm going to know. So I'm always the last to know and the first to go. So I'm so grateful for that because I'll know. And so today on this New Year's Day, I thought I better get back to Mount Shasta and just figure out my packing, but I can't. I can't. Today I'm just supposed to relax and be where I am and make this video. I went out last night for New Year's in this new area. It was an amazing party. This park, it was crazy. And I know my light shines bright. But when you're the new kid in town, it's like people have their clusters. It's like I was there kind of dancing for 2 hours, people, and throughout the crowd. The only person who even spoke to me was Shirley behind the counter. She was working in the kitchen for them. An amazing woman, but it was like, I can't just go be out there yet. Because I tried that. I tried singing karaoke, and it's like people like, hey, this is, CJ from She Sings. It's like I can't just go be that lady anymore because I'm not her anymore. I have to be who I am. And it blows too many people away, so you can't really open with it. But it's the new year for me. Hold on. It's gonna be a wild ride. I just hope some of you women that I knew back in my life when I was a normal operating human, a mom, a radio personality. Yeah, you were a mom. You were also a daughter, but you are so much more. There's so much more in you, but you're like, okay, I'm in this space now. What do I do? You want grandkids because you're bored. No, don't just be someone's wife. Don't be a blob on the couch. Find out who you are. Do like, I don't know the backstory, but do what Michael just did. Go to New Zealand. Just change the scenery because you can't find who you are where you are. You can't. You were not born to be a mom. You were born to become that thing you are first. And that's not being what anybody tells you you are. That was your first and foremost that you were here to be. That role we all took on because we thought we were supposed to. Yeah, we're supposed to have them, but we're not supposed to raise them or tell them what they think or what they're supposed to do. We're supposed to let them go play on the bridge and the rocks and risk their lives day in and day out and not worry. But I was you. I worried. I cared. John sucked. I'm glad she told me some of this stuff she got away with, handing me over to the neighbor man to watch cartoons while he was working in the yard. Not the best ever. Luckily, it was a scary movie. She ran home. You're not here to raise kids or to be there for them. They know the way. And this is why they don't speak to you. They know the way because they're on it. They're on the way where they're going when you let them go and they're out of your nest, of course. And when they start becoming it and you don't agree with it, that's when your separation grows. When they tell you who they are and you're like, Mom, shh, they're not going to stick around and argue to be who they are. That kills us. That brings on disease and makes us want to die. Whoever you are, however old you are, I found this path 9 years ago in October. Now I'm going to be around at the 10th year. 9 years ago, I found this path and I was all in. I surrendered and I said, Show me the way, and I'll never be sick again. I don't take any medication. My body's immaculate. I am immaculate. That's why I got to leave Mount Shasta and my house sold. Boop. I'm going to fly off the cliff January 16th or 22nd, and I have no idea where I'm going. I'll let you know.